It's been so long that I've done a ranked list of MFK fragrances. Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Who's a fan of this house? I feel like they're one of the most popular niche houses on the market, owned by LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet, and Hennessy. This deal happened around 2018, I think, or 2018. And prior to that, Francis Kurkdjian's niche house, Maison Francis Kurkdjian, had so many great fragrances, but now I feel like the brand is leaning fresh. Lots of freshies here, unfortunately. There are ouds that I'm going to get to as well, but I'm going to do a top 21 feminine, unisex, and male targeted releases all in one list. Plus, after the outro, I've got some great discontinued amazing releases from this house that are no longer available, but I'm going to tell you if you can get your hands on them, get them. But either way, find out about my favorite Maison Francis Kurkdjian fragrances coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, are you a fan of Maison Francis Kurkdjian? Do let me know what your favorite fragrances are from this house. Put a comment down below so I can find out. Yeah, I discovered this house in 2011, 2 years after the brand launched. And one of the first fragrances I tried from this house was Absolute Pour le Soir, and it was an amazing amber, very musky, animalic, sweaty, but super delicious. Sadly, that's discontinued, and I have a half a bottle left, not a full. If I can get my hands on a full bottle, I will be in happy heaven. But yeah, that fragrance is one of the first fragrances I discovered, and the very first fragrance I bought from this house was Lumiere Noir. And so yeah, I've got some discontinued fragrances I'm going to talk to you about towards the end of the video, but let's go ahead and get started with the main list. As I said, I've got feminine targeted releases, not too many, mostly unisex, and some male targeted releases as well, not too many. So the list is mostly masculine targeted, but let's go ahead and get started with the A La Rose for the ladies at number 21. So this is it right here. So A La Rose is a very fresh, rosy fragrance. It features two types of roses, Bulgarian and Grasse rose, along with violet, musk, bergamot, orange, magnolia, and cedar. So this fragrance to me wears very fresh. If you like the idea of a very fresh, breezy take on roses, not jammy, not deep, not rich. It's very floral heavy, very musky, lightly woody, then definitely try A La Rose. This is A La Rose for the ladies at number 21. At number 20, we've got Feminine Pluriel. This is a fairly new discovery for me. I actually bought a used bottle. I didn't have it in my collection, and it's fairly new to me, but I really enjoy it in comparison to the last fragrance. This to me smells of makeup. It's iris, rose, violet, jasmine, lily of the valley with vetiver, patchouli, and orange blossom. To me, when you get the combination of iris, rose, violet, what does that smell like? To me, it smells like makeup. But if you like the idea of something like Dior Intense, the makeup-y effect with that one, but definitely a lot more feminine, this is something you would try. This also has a bit of freshness, so it's not this necessarily very deep and rich, but really does smell makeup-y and really does smell great. So check out Feminine Pluriel, and that is at number 20. So next, going to AQUA Universalis Cologne Forte, this one right here. So this is a fairly new bottle because I bought this along with the other Cologne Fortes when they first launched. And this bottle, the original one that I had, stopped working. So I had to go back to the store and tell them this bottle stopped working. Thankfully, they were able to give me a new bottle. This was at ZGO Perfumery. So AQUA Universalis Cologne Forte is my least favorite from the Cologne Fortes. It's so sharp and metallic and not a very pleasant smell, even though I really love AQUA Universalis Forte. Really love that one, and it's at the top of the list. But the Cologne Forte, to me, I feel like sucks. I had to put it here, but I'm just letting you guys know it's not my favorite. It's bergamot with rose. There's white floral touches and also white musk accord. It does have a very sharp metallic touch and also a bit laundry-like presence. The original Forte also does, but this to me is very, one of my least favorite fragrances from this house. So this is AQUA Universalis Cologne Forte from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Then we have L'Homme à la Rose, Homme. L'Homme à la Rose, Homme. I should say it's not really called L'Homme à la Rose, Homme. It's just called L'Homme à la Rose. But the reason I'm saying that is because they also have à la Rose, the original for the ladies that I just spoke about a little while ago. So this L'Homme à la Rose is a very green take on rose and also very stemmy. The rose in this one, or the two types of rose they have in here, Damask rose and Centifolia rose, along with grapefruit, sage, amber woods, and cistus. Not necessarily very jammy. Again, it's very green and stemmy and leafy, and I feel like the rose in this is not bloomed much. So it does lean not necessarily very floral, even though they're using two kinds of roses, obviously. So if you like the idea of a masculine take on roses, definitely try this one. This is L'Homme à la Rose from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. That is at number 18. So the next fragrance at number 17 is also a Cologne Forte. Now this one I do like more than the AQUA Universalis Cologne Forte. This is AQUA CELESTIA Cologne Forte, this one right here. So who's a fan of this one? Who's a fan of the original? The original is up further up, but this one I think is pretty much a very fresh, soft take on the original, going into the Cologne Forte like a cologne direction, freshening everything up and also making it very musky. It has a fruity musk accord along with Mimosa Absolute, Jasmine Absolute, Blackcurrant Bud, and Bergamot. So it's very fresh. It also has some powdery touches, yellow floral touches, really very soft and spicy and fresh and musky from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. This is AQUA CELESTIA Cologne Forte. Check that out if you don't know it. I think it's definitely wearable, much more than the AQUA Universalis Cologne Forte. But the next one is also a Cologne Forte. It's AQUA VITAE Cologne Forte, recently featured in my Solar Fragrances video. And both versions, the original AQUA VITAE Forte and the Cologne Forte, and perhaps the original AQUA VITAE, which I don't have in my collection, are very solar fragrances, and this one was featured in a Solar Fragrances video. A very solar experience here with the bergamot, the mandarin. There's a sunny floral accord, which I feel like is ylang ylang, because the original AQUA VITAE Forte does feature ylang ylang, and this one also has a sensual musk accord. Very nice, very happy, uplifting, sunny, sunshiny, floral, musky, tropical, you name it. So this is AQUA VITAE Cologne Forte from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. That is at number 16. Then we're going to Amyris Homme at number 15. So I don't know what happened to the Amyris Homme Extrait. I'm not sure what happened to that. I don't see it on the websites anymore. Is it still around? But this version I think is pretty nice. I like the Extrait, but I can't find it, so I'm not going to feature it here. This version is Amyris, Cedar, Tonka, Mandarin, Iris, Rosemary, and Saffron. So it's lightly leathery, very herbal and aromatic, and of course the Tonka has this kind of nuttiness and bitterness, very much highlighting the Tonka, and it's also its light tobacco-ish touches. But there's definitely resinous touches from the Amyris, and then of course woods and orange, as Mandarin orange as well. You know, it's not one of my favorite fragrances, but whatever I've spoken about so far, it's definitely much better. So Amyris Homme is here at number 15. And then AQUA CELESTIA in the Eau de Toilette version is at number 14, this one right here. So I know there's an Extrait version of this one. I don't have it. Do you guys recommend it? This version, do you like this version or the Extrait version? Let me know. Put a comment down below. This version here, to me, feels like a very fresh, minty, lime minty cocktail. It features lime mint with blackcurrant bud, mimosa, and musk. So it's very fresh and fruity, kind of, also powdery with that whole mimosa yellow floral thing. It has some light almondy touches, but definitely reminds me of a tropical cocktail maybe, but highlighting the mint and the lime together to give you that kind of fresh cocktaily vibe. So this is AQUA CELESTIA in the Eau de Toilette, the original version, and that is at number 14. And then we've got AQUA Media Cologne at number 13. This one right here. This was the recent launch. Recently, it launched like a couple months ago. This, to me, the more I wear it, the more it reminds me of, guess what? Elizabeth Arden's green tea. I don't know why. He created both. So maybe he's using a similar style. This doesn't have the tea note, but I feel like there's a tea-like touch in here. So it's verbena accord, essence of sweet fennel, bergamot from Calabria, musks, and hedione. Who's a fan of this one? Do you enjoy it? It's very fresh. It's also very smooth. So it's got a soothing kind of calming vibe. And it smells really, really great with the verbena and the mintiness and the fennel touch in here. Really wonderful. This is AQUA Media Cologne. It's another freshie, and I'm hoping for something more deep and rich soon. But I think this house just keeps cranking out the freshies, which I think they're trying to appeal to everyone, and I want some niche from this house, don't you guys? Anyway, moving on to the number 12 fragrance. This is Masculine Pluriel, this one right here. So now that I have both Masculine and Feminine Pluriel, are both of these reformulated? Because I know this Masculine Pluriel does not look this color anymore. It's clear yellowish color now because it got reformulated with the recent restrictions on ingredients. Does it even smell the same? It hasn't made it here yet. I don't see it at the stores, but I did see it at the Maison Francis Kurkdjian website in a different color. So I'd like to get my nose on it and check it and test it out. Soon I will do that. But this version is really, really great. It's Francis Kurkdjian's take on a fougere with lavender, vetiver, leather, patchouli, cedar, lemon, and grapefruit. A great take on it. Very clean. This is something that is a trademark of Francis Kurkdjian. He is the king of very refined fragrances, especially for this house. Not his other projects outside of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, but for something, there's a DNA, it's like a musky, clean, laundry-like presence in a lot of his fragrances. It just comes off very refined, and this to me does as well. So this is Masculine Pluriel from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian at number 12. So at number 11, it's 724, this one right here. This one was the last big launch from last year, I believe. And this is a redo or a rebranding of a fragrance called 754, I believe. That was a Bergdorf's exclusive. This to me is a very fresh, clean, laundry-like fragrance, and it highlights a lot of sandalwood with aldehydes, so it gives you a laundry clean vibe here. Sandalwood aldehydes along with bergamot, bouquet of fresh white flowers, jasmine, and musks. Very musky, very laundry-like, very fresh, clean. If you like clean fragrances, as I was saying, very refined, clean feeling, laundry-like muskiness in a lot of his fragrance, and this is definitely present here with a 724. So 724 is at number 11. I quite like that one. So now we're moving on to the ouds. At number 10, it's Oud Extrait, this one right here. So Oud Extrait is so good in comparison to the original oud, which I have here. I should show you the bottle. So in this video, I'd either go with the version I have or another version. I didn't put them together. I prefer the Oud Extrait because it is so much deeper and richer. The saffron is really amped up. It's kind of leathery here. Vanilla, cedar, elemi, oud, and patchouli. Really like the combination. And I feel like this fragrance is kind of like gentle fluidity, gold versus silver. This to me, I feel like has some of the notes that are in Oud Satin Mood, but they're kind of reversed around and some notes do not appear. So he's kind of working with similar notes and creating other fragrances. But this is really, really great. It's not uber vanillic, but the vanilla is there to soften it up and sweeten it up so that you have kind of a wearable oud fragrance, but wonderful offering. So this is Oud Extrait from Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and that is at number 10. Then it's Oud Silk Mood, this one right here. So Oud Silk Mood used to be my favorite oud fragrance from this house, and also my first oud purchase from this house. Still really do enjoy it. It's kind of that Middle Eastern rose and oud combo that is very, very much present in a lot of different fragrances. Just think black oud and fragrances like that. But this to me is Francis Kurkdjian's take. Again, it's very refined, a very, very beautiful presentation with a blue chamomile as a note, and along with a patchouli, rose, and oud as a trademark notes that are prominent in a lot of different rose oud combo fragrances. But this version by Kurkdjian is really, really amazing. And also, this is the Extrait de Parfum version, and this is the version that launched first. And I believe they've launched an eau de parfum since the launch of this. So this is Oud Silk Mood from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, the Extrait de Parfum version at number 9. And then I've got Oud Satin Mood EDP at number 8, this one right here. This to me, I haven't really gotten into the extra, I should say, before I move on about this fragrance. This to me is a kind of a makeup-y take on oud and rose. There's also vanilla here, and there's also violet. And I think it's the rose and the violet together gives you a bit of a makeup-y undertone. Missing the iris to give you that full effect, but it's there. It's kind of prominent under there. But the combination is great, and I feel like this has become the most popular oud fragrance from this house. They've discontinued several others. One of them I'm going to talk to you about in the bonus section. But really wonderful oud offering. I really enjoy this one. I need to get into the Extrait version, but this version is really, really great on its own. It's very long lasting and it smells fantastic. So Oud Satin Mood in the EDP is at number 8. Then we're going to Gentle Fluidity Gold at number 7. So at number 7 is Gentle Fluidity Gold, and Gentle Fluidity Silver is at number 6. So the fragrances are kind of similar, but the notes are reversed around. You'll find the same notes, but the silver goes into metallic, sharp, aromatic, spicy direction, and then with minute amounts of vanilla and amber, whereas the gold goes into the overdose of the amber and the vanilla with minute amounts of the aromatics and spices and things like that. So you can wear them on its own, or you can combine them together to make a very unisex offering. They're all unisex offerings anyway, these two, but I think the silver leans very masculine, very sharp and metallic, and then of course the gold leans on the feminine side, very vanillic and ambery. Really both delicious fragrances, and they're back-to-back ranked here at number 7 and number 6. So let me know if you guys know these two fragrances. Really wonderful. And do you have both? Do you wear them individually, or do you wear them together, layered together? So at number 5, we've got AQUA VITAE FORTE. This one right here. This is the Forte take on AQUA VITAE. As I was saying earlier, I don't really have the original AQUA VITAE. I never got into it. I went right to the Forte. Then now I have the Cologne Forte. Both of them are great. I prefer the VITAE Forte, AQUA VITAE Forte, because it's got more deepness and richness here. Once again, it's still kind of a sunny solar fragrance, but a lot warmer than the other, with lemons, ylang ylang, orange blossom, sandalwood, vetiver, mandarin, cinnamon, bergamot, and pink pepper. Some spice, definitely warm spices there, fresh spices as well. Lots of citruses for sure. And then the sandalwood adds this kind of a creamy, woody layer. And then of course the citruses and the tropical flower of ylang ylang. So this is AQUA VITAE Forte. Definitely wonderful offering from Maison Kurkdjian. Smells great, tropical, beachy, sunny, solar. Next, going to Petite Matin at number 4. This is Petite Matin, and it was launched along with Grand Soir in 2016. I got a video on the channel still when this first launched. So Petite Matin was supposed to be, or is, the morning fragrance. Grand Soir is the evening fragrance. You wake up and wear something fresh for the day, and you end the day with something warm, stronger, and ambery and things like that. And this to me is really, once again, laundry clean, but lots of lemons and citruses here, with lemons, orange blossom, along with musk, lavender, and ambroxan to extend the life of the fragrance with its muskiness, ambery, woody touches, and then of course some hawthorn thrown in as well. Really juicy, really refreshing, wonderful offering. Petite Matin from the house of Maison Kurkdjian, and that is at number 4. At number 3, it's AQUA Universalis Forte. Once again, never went to the AQUA Universalis. I just went right to the AQUA Universalis Forte. Really do enjoy this one. This one smells of laundry, like clean, musky laundry. And this is that whole refinement I was talking about, the kind of the DNA that's in a lot of the Maison Kurkdjian fragrances. You can smell the muskiness and the DNA here, and it's really, really prominent, along with the lemons and the white flowers and the musk, along with bergamot. There's light rosy touch, and there's some woodiness in here. It's very soft. I feel like it's a sandalwood woodiness rather than any kind of cedar-like woods or something like that. But really super delicious. This is AQUA Universalis Forte from the house of Maison Kurkdjian at number 3. At number 2, it's Baccarat Rouge. This one right here, the X-Rated Parfum version. Baccarat Rouge 540. X-Rated Parfum is so much better than the original, although some of you like less dense fragrances, so you would go with the original. I go with the stronger fragrance because I really like strong, intense fragrances. And I love this one for the trail. The trail is amazing here. Really wonderful offering with the trail. Sexiest trail. And again, this was a fragrance I did not like for a long time. Really grew on me by the end of 2018, and by the 2019 rolled around, I've been a fan of it since then. So it's ambergris with ambroxan, bitter almonds, saffron, jasmine, musk, woods, and cedar. It's been copied so much. This started a chain reaction of people wanting to clone this fragrance. Inspired by this fragrance. It is probably one of the most popular fragrances out there in all of the fragrance world. Do you guys agree? Let me know if you're a fan or not a fan. I know there's fans of this and there's non-fans of this. Either way, Baccarat Rouge 540 Extrait is at number 2. And then it was going to be a toss-up between this or Baccarat Rouge 540 Extrait. I went with this as number 1. It's Grand Soir. It's more my style of fragrance, and this basically replaced Absolute Pour le Soir, which was even better than this, as the more universally appreciated fragrance, because Absolute Pour le Soir is very musky and a bit naughty. in animalic. But Grand Soir is a delicious amber with vanilla, benzoin. There's tonka beans here. There's labdanum and lavender. I did hear recently that it was reformulated. I'm not 100% sure it's true. I think going through the whole ban that happened last year with the ingredients, so they're probably reformulating a lot of different fragrances. But either way, still a great smelling amber. Really love it. This is Grand Soir from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian at number 1. Anyway, those are my favorite fragrances ranked from this house. Obviously, that's pretty much everything, I think. Obviously, also missing some extrait or eau de parfums of various fragrances, which I wanted to include individually here to begin with. But what are your thoughts on these fragrances? How would you rank this list if you had a bunch of Maison Francis Kurkdjian fragrances? Do let me know. Put a comment down below so I can find out. And of course, don't forget to stick around for the bonus section of 5 of my favorite discontinued fragrances from this house. But either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. All right, I've got a top 5 favorite Maison Francis Kurkdjian discontinued fragrances for you. This is a bonus section to the top 21 Maison Francis Kurkdjian fragrances I did. And I'm going to talk about 5 of my favorite discontinued Maison Francis Kurkdjian fragrances. These are fragrances I sadly miss from this house. Unfortunately, I don't think there was a large market for these fragrances, so that is the reason why they're discontinued. But they are some of my favorite fragrances. In fact, as I said, I discovered the brand with Absolute Pour Le Soir, but I thought at the time it was a bit daring for me, so I did not buy this right away. I ended up buying Lumière Noire Pour Homme. I thought it was a little more safe, but then this one just really grew on me, and I really started appreciating it. What I like about this one, that it's kind of an amber for sure, definitely very honeyed and also resinous balsamic amber, reminiscent of fragrances like Ambre Sultan from Serge Lutens, and also Mitza from the house of Dior. But this one went a lot more muskier, a bit animalic, and also very sweaty with cumin. But it is so, so delicious. One of the best fragrances that Francis Kurkdjian has created, and it's sad that it's discontinued. If I can get my hands on a full bottle of this to have as a backup, I'm going to look for it and get it. If anybody knows of a bottle, let me know. But this to me is a masterpiece from Francis Kurkdjian created Maison Francis Kurkdjian fragrance. Do you guys agree? Do you like the animalic qualities of this one? It's not uber animalic. Like there's some fragrances that can be uber animalic. This is the right amount. The right amount. It's so, so delicious. And I love ambers to begin with. And this happens to be my favorite discontinued Maison Francis Kurkdjian fragrance. So this is Absolute Pour Le Soir at number 1. I'm going the other way around this particular section. The next fragrance that I'm going to talk to you about was a limited edition fragrance that Francis Kurkdjian had created for Maison Francis Kurkdjian as a exclusive fragrance for a store in Moscow called Gum. This is Ciel de Gum, this one right here. Thankfully, I have a backup bottle of this. This is how much is in here. This fragrance to me, I bought in the Maison Francis Kurkdjian boutique in Paris on the Rue d'Alger. I kept going back there to look at their exclusive fragrances. Instantly fell in love with it. Once again, it was an amber, but this one is very uber cinnamony. It's almost like cinnamon hots, like the red hots that I'm talking about. It's amber with cinnamon, jasmine, vanilla, pink pepper, and rose. And for some reason, when I smelled this fragrance for the first time, instant scent memory, but I couldn't remember what I was smelling. For some reason, this fragrance reminded me of a time in my classroom in school, high school, where when Obsession for the Ladies was just launched and these girls, kind of older girls, were wearing this Obsession for Women. For some reason, it brought back memories of that day. I don't know if they're similar because I haven't recently smelled the Obsession for Women. And even when I bought this for the first time in 2014, I hadn't smelled the current version of Obsession then. But that's what it reminded me of. But it's so super intense. The amber is strong. The cinnamon is intense. Like I said, it's very like red hots. And also the jasmine is pretty prominent as well. Like these three notes are what's running the show. But along the way, you got some sweetness from the vanilla, and then of course the pink pepper is very, very spicy, but a fresh spice because we have cinnamon in here. It's the warm spice, and the pink pepper adds some freshness to the fragrance, and then very minute amounts of rose under there, very, very much under there. But it's so good, guys. This is so good. If you can get your hands on it, do. But sadly, it's discontinued. It is an amazing release from Francis Kurkdjian, one of his best, I think. The next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is one of the ouds from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. One of my favorite ouds, also purchased from the Maison Francis Kurkdjian boutique in Paris. This is Oud Cashmere Mood. What is this about? What is it about this fragrance that I really like, and sad it's discontinued? It's oud with labdanum, benzoin, and vanilla. But there's something almost, once again, like a scent memory that brings back me working for a company. Well, I've worked at kind of industrial places where they manufacture things during my high school years when I was involved in some kind of a program at high school. And it kind of takes me back with manufacturing plants and machinery. That's the kind of smell it brings back memories of. And I really, really like the way this smells. It doesn't smell like other oud fragrances, even though you can pick out the oud, but the combination of the notes are really, really amazing. And then there's also a leathery undertone here with this oud. It's really great. One of the best. The thing I know about this fragrance, to me, when I smell it, it smells gray. I don't know what it is about the fragrance. It smells gray. That's instantly reminds me of gray. I don't know why that happens. It takes me back to when I was working at the manufacturing plant with the machinery, and then the color gray comes up. But this is amazing. Wonderful offering. Oud Cashmere Mood. Sad it's gone, but it's a wonderful fragrance from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. The next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is A Pomme pour Homme. This one right here. A Pomme pour Homme, or A Piece of Me. Is that what it's supposed to stand for? APOM? This to me smells like Francis Kurkdjian's, what's that Jean-Paul Gaultier 2. It's a bit like that because Francis Kurkdjian created Gaultier 2. It was discontinued. Then now recently it's been brought back, but I haven't been able to get my hands on one. I don't know why. And then A Pomme pour Homme also reminds me of that. And also this reminds me a little bit of Kobe by Xerjoff. It's orange flower, amber, and cedar. Very powdery. This is not a juicy citrus fragrance. It's mostly highlighting the orange flower. I guess it can also a bit smell like, not too much I think, of Fleur de Mal from Jean-Paul Gaultier. I think it's more the Gaultier 2. The original one that launched, because I don't know what the new one smells like. It's very ambery with loads of orange flower, orange blossom, and then of course some woods with cedar. Really, really great fragrance. Thankfully, I got my hands on this, and I've got 2 backup bottles of this one, and really love that one. And then the last fragrance, the first fragrance I bought from this house, this is Lumiere Noir pour Homme. Once again, discontinued, but the combination is great. Rose and patchouli, a bit chypre-like. I really like that. So it's rose, patchouli, artemisia, cinnamon, and cumin. It wore very fresh to me. It wasn't one of the most intense fragrances from this house, but it was a safe blind buy. Not a blind buy, I shouldn't say. I bought it from Neiman Marcus for the first time. That's where I first experienced all the fragrances from Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and this is the first fragrance I bought. I wore so much of this one, and I really, really liked it. I kind of got bored of it now. That's why I've ranked it here at the bottom. But still, I think it's a wonderful offering, and I think there's fans of this one out there. But this is Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Lumiere Noir pour Homme. I never really got into the Lumiere Noir pour Femme. I don't know what that smells like. And there's probably a few other fragrances that I'm missing from this house. But these are definitely really wonderful discontinued offerings from the Maison Francis Kurkdjian house. If you can get your hands on these fragrances, do. I highly recommend them. They're really, really great fragrances and definitely worth having in your collection if you are a collector or if you want something much more robust, minus the Lumiere Noir pour Homme, much more robust than some of the current offerings. Because as I said, Francis Kurkdjian's Maison Francis Kurkdjian house is under LVMH, and their fragrances have gone really, really fresh. Uber fresh. And so it's a bit disappointing. And I think since LVMH caters to a lot of the world, most of the world are not into fragrances, so it's a given that they're going to discontinue some of the more deeper, richer fragrances that are more for the perfume connoisseurs and target to the mass world when they probably don't understand a lot of fragrances and want something pleasant smelling. Because, Absolute Pour Le Soir is animalic. It's very musky. Probably didn't sell much. And then, you know, you name it. Ciel de Gum was a limited edition release. It got discontinued in 2021. You know, because something probably happened and they no longer wanted to do an exclusive fragrance for this department store in Moscow and things like that. But either way, let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. Put a comment down below, and thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for another video very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Also, guys, as I have been mentioning, we are doing a surprise Scent Club kit drop, and it is happening finally today. For those of you that have previously purchased the Scent Club kit, you get first crack at it. Stay tuned for an email very soon, and tomorrow the official drop of the kit will happen. So the mystery box, that's basically what it is. And normally we're going to do 10 samples from various brands in a kit of mystery box samples. And basically 10 samples, official samples from the brands. And the sizes can vary anywhere from a 1.5 milliliter to up to 3.5 milliliter. These are mostly around 2 mils. One of them is a 3 ml. And so these are limited to 200. We're only dropping 200. And I should also say, we're not going to do this as frequently as the other kits. And it's going to be more sporadic whenever I run across some great samples and some brands I want to highlight. Again, there's only 200 of these, and they're going for $39, $39.99 or $39, somewhere around there. I'm not 100% set on the price yet, but most likely $39. And these will sell out really, really fast. It's a great variety of samples from different fragrances, and the majority of the fragrances in this mystery box Scent Club kit are from late last year up until now. There are releases in here that are just launching or just launched, but going back to the latter part of last year. So take advantage of your mystery box. It's a mystery what's inside, and if you do end up with one, please don't share it with everybody else until everybody gets their kits, so that it could be a mystery still. Thank you.